there's a moment. Every older guy faces you're having a great conversation with a younger woman. Everything is flowing naturally, and then bam, she suddenly asks, "How old are you?" And in that split second, everything changes. If you answer the wrong way, you might feel the energy shift. She pulls back, suddenly less engaged, and you can sense that something just went off. But if you handle it correctly, this moment can actually work in your favor, making you even more attractive in her eyes. Most men mess this up. They hesitate, they get defensive, they start explaining themselves, and the moment they do that, they've already lost. But a select few know exactly how to turn this question into an advantage. They don't just respond, they control the conversation. And today, I'll show you exactly how to do that. Let's be clear, this isn't just about your age. It's about how you handle any personal question that comes your way. Women, especially younger ones, ask questions to read your reaction. They're not looking for a number, they're looking for confidence, composure, and certainty. They want to see if you're the kind of man who owns himself, or if you're secretly uncomfortable in your own skin. And before we continue, let me ask you this. Do you think age is a disadvantage when dating younger women? Comment yes if you believe it matters, or no if you think it doesn't. I want to see where you stand before I reveal the truth. Because here's the reality. If you believe your age is a problem, you're already losing. But if you know how to carry yourself the right way, it can become your greatest asset. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make that shift. Let's dive in. Number one, the Stoic perspective. Your age is not the problem. Stoic perspective, your age is not the problem. Most men assume that when a woman asks about their age, she's looking for a specific number, something that will determine whether she stays interested or loses attraction instantly. But here's the truth. It's not about the number. It's about how you react to the question. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is exactly what applies here. You can't control whether a woman asks you about your age, but what you can control is your response. The men who get rattled, hesitate, or try to justify their age, they unknowingly send one clear message. I'm not comfortable with myself, and the moment a woman senses that she loses interest, not because of the age difference, but because insecurity is never attractive. Let me tell you about Steve. He was 48, recently divorced, in great shape. And back in the dating game, he had a great personality, solid career, and plenty of life experience. But every time he met a younger woman and the age question came up, his reaction betrayed him. I remember him telling me about a 29-year-old. He was interested in. The two of them were having a fantastic conversation. Everything was clicking, and then she casually asked, "How old are you?" And in that moment, he panicked, he tensed up, let out a nervous laugh and said, "I'm 48, but I still feel young." Boom, conversation killed. Not because he was 48, but because his reaction showed he wasn't comfortable with it. The moment you flinch at a disclaimer or try to justify yourself, you make your age seem like a problem. And if you act like it's a problem, she will see it as a problem too. Contrast that with another guy I coach, Paul, who was 53. Whenever women asked about his age, he would smile, stay completely composed, and simply say, "I turned 53 in April." No excuses, no hesitation, no justifications. And then, without missing a beat, he'd smoothly ask, "When's your birthday notice?" The difference. The second he answered, he pivoted the conversation in another direction, signaling that age wasn't even a big deal to him. And because he didn't make it a big deal, neither did she. This is where most men fail. They think the issue is the number, but the real issue is their reaction. The Stoic mindset teaches us that what happens externally isn't the problem. Our interpretation of it is, and when you internalize that, you take back control because, let's be honest, If a woman is already talking to you, flirting with you, and engaging with you, she's already attracted, you're already in the game, and unless you give her a reason to doubt it, your age will never be the deal breaker. So if you ever feel insecure about your age, understand this. The problem is never the number. The problem is how you think about it. And in the next section, I'll show you the 3 biggest mistakes men make when answering this question and why they completely sabotage themselves. Number 2, the common mistakes. Why most guys fail, common mistakes. Why most guys fail, most men don't realize it, but the way they answer the age question can make or break their chances with a woman. And the worst part, they sabotage themselves without even knowing it. They think they're handling it well. But in reality, they're broadcasting insecurity loud and clear. Here are the 3 biggest mistakes that instantly kill attraction. The first mistake is adding a "I fear" a little disclaimer that's meant to soften the blow. You've probably heard guys say things like, "I'm 52, but I'm really young at heart," or "I'm 60, but I stay in great shape," or even "I'm 45, but I can still keep up with guys in their 30s. They think they're making themselves look better." But what they're really doing is signaling that their age is something to be ashamed of. A Stoic man doesn't justify himself, he states facts with confidence. When you add a qualifier, you're unconsciously telling her, "I know my age is a problem, so let me try to make up for it." And that is what makes you look weak. The second mistake is deflecting the question or trying to be clever. Some men would ask their age. Dodge it by saying things like, "Age is just a number," or "old enough to know better, young enough to still have fun." Now I get why they do this. They think it sounds mysterious, playful, or even charming. But in reality, it comes off as if they're hiding something. Women are very good at picking up on subtle signs of discomfort. And when they sense that you're not answering coolly, it raises a red flag. Imagine if you asked a woman where she was from, and instead of giving you a straight answer, she said, "Oh, I've been around," or "I'll tell you later." It would make her seem shady. Right, the same logic applies here. A man who is truly comfort-able with his age has no reason to dance around the question. The third mistake is drawing attention to the age gap. Some men think they're being funny when they joke, "Wow, I'm old enough to be your father." Or do you usually go for older guys? They assume that by acknowledging the age difference, they're making light of it. But what they're really doing is planting the idea that it's something unusual, something that should be noticed, and the more you make her think about it, the more likely she is to question whether she's comfortable with it. Here's the truth. Women don't obsess over age gaps as much as men think they do. If a woman is interested in you, it's because of your energy, your presence, and how you make her feel. The second you start acting self-conscious about your age, you break that spell. You remind her of something she wasn't even thinking about. And instead of seeing you as an attractive, confident man, she starts seeing you as just another guy who's insecure about getting older. These mistakes all stem from the same root problem, treating age as a liability instead of an asset. But when you learn to embrace it, own it, and hear the conversation with confidence, everything changes. And in the next section, I'll show you the exact formula that high-value men use to turn this question into a moment of attraction instead of a moment of self-doubt. Number 3, the Stoic formula, the only response you need. The Stoic formula, the only response you need. Men panic when a woman asks about their age, but the truth is this question is an opportunity, not a test. If you respond correctly, you don't just maintain attraction, you increase it. The key is to follow a simple 3-step formula. Accept, reframe, redirect. This approach ensures that you remain in control. Project confidence and effortlessly shift the conversation in your favor. The first step is accept a high-value man doesn't avoid reality. He embraces it when she asks how old you are. You answer directly without hesitation, without justification, and without apology. A Stoic doesn't waste energy worrying about things. He cannot change. And your age is one of those things. Instead of saying, I'm 45, but I feel young. Simply say I turned 45 in June. That's it. Simple, direct, and confident. No qualifiers, no nervous laughter, no shifting in your seat. Just a fact delivered with ease. The second step is frame. Once you've stated your age, you immediately follow up with a statement that positions it as an advantage. This is where most men fail. They let their age be something that just sits there in the air, inviting judgment in. Instead, you take control by adding a remark that subtly reinforces your value. If you're 50, you could say, "And honestly, this has been my best year yet." If you're 40, you could add, "And I wouldn't trade the experience I've gained for anything. This does two things first. It makes you sound completely comfortable with yourself. And second, it subtly guides her perspective, encouraging her to see your age in a positive light." The third step is redirect. Once you've reframed your age, you immediately shift the focus of the conversation onto her. The simplest way to do this is by asking a natural follow-up question, like, "When's your birthday?" or "What's your zodiac sign?" Even if you don't care about astrology, the point is to keep the conversation moving. By doing this, you prevent the age gap from becoming the center of attention. The key is to act like it's completely normal, because when you do, she will too. Let's put it all together. Imagine a woman asks, "How old are you?" instead of hesitating. He responds smoothly, "Her, how old are you?" You, "I turned 48 in April, and I have to say, this has been my best year yet. When's your birthday?" It's effortless, there's no resistance, no awkwardness, just pure confidence. And because you don't flinch, neither does she. This is the power of owning your frame. Here's the rule to remember. Your age only becomes an issue if you make it one when you use this formula. Accept, reframe, redirect. You signal that you are completely at ease with yourself, and that more than anything is what makes you attractive. In the next section, we'll take this even deeper and talk about the real reasons some men struggle with their age and how to permanently shift your mindset so that you never worry about this question. The mindset shift, how to truly own your age again. Number 4, the mindset shift, how to truly own your age. A man's attractiveness is never about his age, it's about how he carries himself. Some men in their 50s and 60s effortlessly attract younger women, while others in their 30s struggle. Why? Because confidence isn't tied to a number. It's tied to your perception of yourself. The moment you see your age as a disadvantage, you make it one. But when you treat it as an asset, others will follow your lead. The problem isn't that men get older. The problem is that many men let age define them. They start believing society's narratives that youth equals desirability, that getting older means losing your edge. They internalize these ideas and, without realizing it, start carrying themselves as if they're past their prime. This belief system shows up in their posture, in the way they talk, in how they interact with women. It's not the age that turns women off, it's the energy they give off because of how they feel about their age. Let me give you a real example. A while back, I worked with two men. One was 44, the other was 57. The 44-year-old was in decent shape, had a solid career, but constantly complaining that he was too old to attract younger women. He focused on the competition, believing that women only wanted guys in their 20s or early 30s. And because he believed that every interaction he had was tainted by insecurity, the 57-year-old, on the other hand, had zero doubts. He had a strong presence, a sharp mind, and a life full of experiences that made him fascinating. He carried him as like a man who knew his worth. And guess what women didn't care about his age? They cared about how he made them feel. This is where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic doesn't waste time worrying about things outside of his control. He doesn't sit around obsessing over whether he's too old or if younger men have an advantage. Instead, he focuses on what he can control: his presence. his mindset, his self-mastery. Women don't respond to numbers. They respond to certainty. If you're struggling with your age, ask yourself this. What's really stopping you? Is it the number or is it the meaning you've attached to it? Because here's the truth. If a woman is talking to you, she's already interested. If she asks about your age, she's not looking for a reason to reject you. She's observing how you react. The wrong response, hesitation, self-doubt. Overexplained tells her everything she needs to know. But the right response, calm, direct, self-assured, keeps attraction flowing in your age, isn't just about dating. It's about how you carry yourself in every aspect of life. The world follows your lead. If you act like your best years are behind you, people will treat you that way. But if you move through life as if you're at your peak, you will be treated accordingly. The only difference between a man who struggles and a man who thrives is his belief system. And in the next section, I'm going to challenge you to test this for yourself, to apply this mindset in real life and see the difference. The ultimate test, a challenge for you, makes number 5. The ultimate test, a challenge for you. Understanding this concept is one thing, but applying it in real life is what truly separates high-value men from those who let insecurity control them. If you want to see just how powerful your mindset is, I have a simple but effective challenge for you. Try this and you'll immediately notice the difference in how people, especially women, respond to you first. First, stand in front of a mirror and say, your age out loud, not in a hesitant, apologetic way. Say it with confidence, own it, look at yourself and say, I'm 42 or I'm 55 or whatever your age is, but don't stop there. Add a positive statement right after say I'm 42 and I'm in the best shape of my life, or I'm 55 and I wouldn't trade my experience for anything. Do this every morning for the next week. This may sound simple, but the way you talk about your age shapes your perception of it. If you constantly tell yourself you're too old, or that younger guys have the advantage, that belief will seep into everything you do. Second, pay attention to how you respond when someone asks your age in real life. The next time a woman asks, pause for a second. No rushing, no nervous laughter, no unnecessary explanations. Just say it directly. I turned 50 in March, then follow up immediately with when's your birthday, and notice what happens if you hold steady. If you don't flinch, you'll see something interesting. She won't either. You'll realize that the real issue was never the number. It was your reaction to it. Third, watch how women react to different types of men in social situations. Pay attention to older men who are confident, self-assured, and relaxed about their age. Do they struggle, or do they seem to attract people effortlessly? You'll start to see a pattern. Women aren't put off by age, but they are put off by insecurity. And here's the final part of the challenge. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Did you try this? How did it feel? Did you notice a difference in how people responded? If you've been treating your age like a disadvantage, this small shift in perspective can completely change how you see yourself, because at the end of the day, you have 2 choices. You can either let society, your own doubts, and your insecurities dictate how you feel about getting older, or you can take control of the narrative, own your age with confidence, and watch how the world adjusts to your energy. The choice is yours in the final section. I'll wrap this up and leave you with one last reminder that will solidify everything we've talked about today. Conclusion, you own your age, or it owns you own your age, or it owns you. Attraction isn't about a number, it's about how you carry yourself. Women don't lose interest because of your age, they lose interest when they send H, you're uncomfortable with it. The difference between men who struggle and men who thrive isn't youth, looks or luck, it's certainty. The man who owns himself, who speaks with confidence, who embraces his experiences and carries them with pride. That's the man who naturally draws people in. You can't change the past and you can't make yourself younger, but what you can control is the way you show up in the world. If you believe your age is a disadvantage, you'll prove yourself right. But if you see it as a strength, if you recognize the value of everything you've learned, everything you've built, and the presence you've developed, you'll move through life in a way that makes people take notice. There's a reason why younger men try to act older, why they mimic the confidence and experience that only comes with time. They understand on some level that real presence takes years to develop. You already have what they're trying to build. The only question is, do you recognize it? So the next time someone asks how old you are, don't hesitate, don't justify, don't overthink. Say it with ease, let it roll off your tongue, and move forward as if it's the most natural thing in the world, because it is. The world takes cues from you when you move with confidence. People follow when you own your age, you own your life.